Speyside High School is one of 12 sites around the country that now has a solar panel system, thanks to donations coming out of the European Union's Global Climate Change Alliance Plus, GCCA Plus. The aim is to help countries address climate change challenges, and one way of doing so is by transitioning to renewable energy sources.
In Speyside, the solar panels on the rooftop of this high school will power a science lab and spare us from 6 tons of CO2 emissions annually. It's a good start, and this example must be replicated in other schools, houses, parking lots, hospitals, you name it.
As the student interacts with the solar system, we look forward to the benefits that will meet them directly in the subject areas like environmental science, physics, chemistry, mechanical engineering technology, electrical and electronic technology, our tourism club, environment, and 4-H club.
We have to start with these youngsters and give them an opportunity to interact with green technology. And that is what UNDP, with the help of the European Union and the Ministry of Planning, has been able to do for us today. Our youngsters, unlike others in other parts of the region, will be able to actively tell the story of what it means to have part of their class and the class activities being off the grid.
The Mainridge Forest Reserve Orientation Center in Bloody Bay is the other Tobago site enjoying solar power thanks to the GCCA Plus initiative.
The Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT Speyside's headquarters, is nearing completion. This is being made possible by the Japanese Embassy of Trinidad and Tobago and the Tobago House of Assembly. The building will help CERT technicians respond much faster to emergencies in East Tobago.
Tobago, we are at the home stretch. We are very pleased to have the ambassador here with us from Japan, who is taking a view as the progress of this wonderful building. I just pointed out that, this is a historic building in the sense that in the English-speaking Caribbean, it will be the only one of its kind. And I know definitely based on what energies that went into it and the resources that went into it by the Tobago House of Assembly, certainly will be one of the models of what the rest of buildings will look like.
Like Japan, it is very prone to natural disasters such as hurricane, rainfalls, landslides, and so on. Almost all are in Japan. And now I visited this building, simple but very effective. And on behalf of Japan and the people of Japan and the government of Japan, I hope this building and your staff will protect this region.
It's been a while, and I know the people of East Tobago will be happy at this first purpose-built emergency response building that will service the island of the Eastern Tobago.
As the engineers and architects, so it was a Tobago designed project. So we had some good months, some not so good months of construction work, like it's typical with any project. But we're here now, the building is up. We are looking towards a completion of about 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks to bring the project to full completion.
I hope this building and your staff will protect this region. And I hope you could improve your disaster prevention capacities, upgrade it. I hope you can make it.
So, Tobago is about to get lit as we get ready to be the hosts of the Commonwealth Games. Big things are going down in sport on the island. In preparation, Above Average Fitness partnered with the Trinidad and Tobago Triathlon Federation to host its annual triathlon event, which also served as a qualifier for the 2023 Games.
Triathlon is one of the sports in the Games, and it's great that we're actually at Buku, where the event will happen in August.
Doing this for the second year, I believe this year was more work, but I embraced it because we need more of this in Tobago. Um, very, very thankful for the help from the Trinidad and Tobago Triathlon Federation and also the help from everyone who came out and even just supported. And we, as we said before, this will be an annual race and we hope to do it bigger and better every year.
I felt pretty good. This Tobago Triathlon is a flat course, so a very fast race, and had fun racing against my competitors.
The swim was a bit choppy and it was a bit hard to see the buoys, so I went off course, but I tried my best. And the ride was good. I really liked the course. However, well, some cars kind of got in the way, so that made it a bit difficult. But the run was really, really nice. It was a very nice course, and the weather was nice.
The race, I would say, was a fantastic event held once again here in Buku Beach, Tobago, and was great to be back, and hopefully they continue on the race for years to come.
It was a bit hot. The swim was a little rougher coming in, so you had to change your stroke a little bit. Then onto ride, it was really smooth. People were courteous, people were motivating. The road itself was relatively very smooth. And then onto ride, it was calm, a little breezy. It's hot moments, but overall it was a really nice course.
Today's event was a successful one. The conditions were great. I came third overall, and I'm pleased with our performance today. For me, this is like the second triathlon I've done within the past year. So, I mean, right now I'm just testing my fitness, and in terms of my overall fitness, I'm pleased with it. And I'm just grateful to come out here and finish healthy and injury-free.
It's the Easter weekend, and apart from the indigenous activities that will take place on the island, there is the Chief Secretary's annual T10 Blast cricket tournament that will also be happening. And the newly elected president of the West Indies Cricket Board met with the hosts of the tournament to pay him a visit. And Tobago was his first stop as president.
Short so far. He's driving nicely through the offside.
This tournament is an opportunity to highlight the local talent on the island. It also will give the game here a much-needed boost and to promote a beautiful Tobago. In its third year, the 7-day tournament will be held at the Sid Grace Sporting Complex.
This upcycled plastic bench at Mount Irving Beach facility is made of 50,000 plastic items. Its presence at a Blue Flag pilot beach exemplifies the Blue Flag standard of a sound environmental practice. The bench was manufactured by Flying Tree Environmental Management and the Roxborough Police Youth Club's Upcycling Center.
This initiative, we decided to embark on it because of the pollution that we are having both land and sea, and after we would have collected bottles, we most likely would have been shipping them off to Trinidad or just carry them up at the dump at Studley Park. So looking at that, we needed to expand and extend and try to do our part as a youth organization to help with reducing the waste. So instead of just discarding it, we decided to upcycle it.
This bench symbolizes Tobago's modern thrust when it comes to its relationship with the environment. At the heart of our tourism product is our natural environment and safeguarding the natural environment.
We have been supporting the Blue Flag certification of the boat operators as a very important component for sustainable tourism, for the protection of the environment, and for attracting tourists that are guided by this entire level international standard.
I'm excited to see some of the proposals and concerns being dealt with and put into action, and to actually have continuity.
A boat tour on Top Catch charters rounded off this Blue Flag program public awareness venture.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, it is Easter Tuesday, what we describe naturally as yet another unofficial holiday in Tobago. Don't say that I said that, but naturally, if you know any at all about Easter and you spend time here in Tobago in particular, you know that today is also an unofficial holiday. Yes, folks, as we continue to give God thanks for life, I am a Julian Skeet.
And I am Maria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Tobago, good morning Trinidad, those of you viewing us in the Caribbean, and those of you on the live, good Tuesday, Easter Tuesday to you. And we're really happy to be back with you this morning. Julian Skeet, you got quite a long, in fact, I got quite a long break. I was about to say you did, but...
Folks, you just forgot me there.
Yeah, no. But we did have quite a nice time off there from Easter Tuesday, from Good Friday. Good Friday all the way back to yesterday into today. So how did you spend your time?
Quite good, you know. It was quite good. I ended up, I have to put it that way, in the festivities yesterday.
You ended up?
Yes. You know, it's important for us to, you know, get that kind of on-hand feel.
Yeah.
And it was quite an interesting time there at Mount Pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to say congratulations and kudos. For most persons, last year there was very much of a taste. This time around, in terms of seeing more persons returning to the space. And, you know, I've always indicated these activities, both Monday and Tuesday, really cater very much to the family. So my young one had a time.
She had you busy. I want to believe she was the one that pulled you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, she had a time. I usually make sure, in fact, she sets up the Easter schedule, if you want to put it that way, to indicate what she would like to go to the kite flying, the various, you know, initiatives and activities happening over the Easter. And, you know, I also want to send out commendations to the Glen Road organization that continues to put on that kite flying. Marsha Holder and the entire team out there. Excellent initiative again. They went out. I didn't make that one. Mom and daughter head on out, and they had a time in terms of the activities and the initiatives, really catering an Easter season that doesn't only have events and activities for adults, but it also has initiatives that cater to children and so on, really celebrating and enjoying. Indeed.
I am happy to hear, indeed, very happy to hear. So
give me a little taste. Well, I know you can't disclose all things from the weekend, but...
No. My weekend was very, very quiet. This year was very different for me. Yesterday, I celebrated 50 years, but it was also 1 year since I lost my mom.
Yes.
So, like I said, it was a very different year for me, and very little celebration. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, but I'll get there. But I'm not there yet. But it was, like I said, it was very quiet. So, you know, I was really happy. For the rest, I have to say, I was very, very elated to be able to get out of bed at 7 or 8 o'clock because that's really unheard of in my home, you know, getting out of bed at those hours. But I mean, that's the 10 o'clock for me.
Well, sometimes you got to take that.
That's
That
right.
time out.
That's
you got to
right.
take that time out in the mix. All right. So at this point, viewers, we head on over to, is it Tobago and Focus that we have coming up next in the lineup? Oh, I'm getting a different kind of cue here, viewers. And we are heading into our birthday celebrations this morning. And as we get started in the lineup this morning. All right.
And we've got Aisha Waldron who celebrated yesterday with me. This is my birthday, one of my birthday twins. I've got quite a few. Aisha Bacchus Waldron, who celebrated her 40th yesterday. So Aisha, I had to put it out there because you look fabulous and it was no secret anyway. So happy birthday going out to yes. I see Shana looking at me like, Rhea, did you just call her age? Did you just say that? And this is my other birthday twin, my big sister out there, Dr. Maria Dylan Remy, who celebrated along with me yesterday. Happy birthday. And I'm not going to call this age because I'm sure she's ranking somewhere around, you know, my age. But I'm not going to put it out there, but you look fantastic. And this is my other birthday twin, and this is one of my sons as well. I taught Darian many years ago. This is Darian Tyson, who celebrated his birthday as well with me yesterday. So Darian, I love going out to you as well from all of us here at Tobago Updates. Happy birthday going out to you guys. And this is my other birthday twin, my good friend, Listra Thomas. Listra Thomas from Golden Lane side. Happy belated going out to you, my dear Listra. Trust that you had a really great one, and you know, continue to enjoy out there. All right, we've also got celebrating here. We've got Cherise Batiste Brooms, who's celebrating. Happy birthday going out to you, Cherise Batiste Brooms. Trust that you have a great one. And we've also got this beautiful little lady, and this is Kyla Jack, who celebrated her 8th birthday on Sunday the 9th of April 2023, and blessings from her Susulands family. I tell you, Skylar Jack, you ain't easy. You have an entire community celebrating you today. So happy birthday blessings going out to you from your Susulands family. Oh my God.
Wow.
She almost looks familiar. I almost didn't recognize her, Julian.
This is where we
help me here.
Pause for a cause. Yes, folks. It is, you know, you have to add in the titles now. Lady Chanel Felix
That's
is on
right.
screen, and wishing her a happy birthday. Folks, she can't even contain herself.
I'm telling you, applause in the background.
Wishing her a happy birthday. The celebrations got off this weekend, and we're certain that she's going to continue. By all means, it doesn't stop here. We wish you God's continued blessings coming from your entire Tobago Updates family, Chanel. Yes, folks, and we got on screen here as well. You see, we got some birthdays and updates happening. Some birthdays and updates. Yes, folks, this is Rhea Richardson George. Yes. And, you know, just as the applause continues to flow, she celebrated over the course of this weekend. And Rhea, we really want to continue to wish you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings, even in the midst of what may be considered, you know, challenging times. And yes, folks, you may be wondering, I want to just point up Rhea's husband, Jesso, as well. Yes, folks, Rhea also celebrated an anniversary over the course of this weekend. Rhea, what year was this picture? This was what, 20 how many years?
That picture was when he had more black hair than gray.
I think this was when you, if my information is correct, when it was 21 years. And this year, Rhea, you are celebrating?
28.
28 years. 28 years in the mix. Yes, folks, this is Rhea and Oswald.
Yeah.
Yes, the gentleman that I oftentimes am able to refer to. Wishing you all a happy anniversary.
Yes.
And indeed, God's continued blessings each and every step of the way. And you know, I said to Rhea, let me share a little tidbit with you over the course of the weekend. If you know Rhea Richardson, George, and Oswald, any at all, even with 28 years in the mix, they make marriage, or rather you only see the fun and exciting side, and continue to inspire and to motivate and to encourage others. And I'm certain that's the view of many that have the opportunity to interact and to engage with Rhea and Oswald. Whether it's in business, whether it's in church, whether it's in family life, you continue to see that unity and that togetherness each and every time. And so we want to wish you the very, very best indeed, Rhea, coming from your entire Tobago Updates family. And to the both of you all, no pressure at all, but continue to be that inspiration.
Thank you,
folks, if you see this, you know, it's not often that Rhea is moved beyond words. Indeed, not very often. And at this point, viewers, we're heading straight on in, I almost said to birthdays with Chanel, but news in 90 seconds with Chanel.
Thank you so much, Julian and Rhea. Thank you for that beautiful birthday greeting. And here is your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, the 11th of April, 2023. Police are questioning a suspect in connection with Easter Sunday murder. 22-year-old Alex Cooper was found dead in a drain with gunshot wounds on his body in Logwood Park, Scarborough. However, after some investigations, officers from the Roxborough divisions were able to arrest one man believed to be in connection with the murder. Cooper was from Moruga in Trinidad but had been living in Tobago for some time. His murder was the second to occur in Tobago for the year. Additionally, the formation of a new political party found favor with the former head of the public service, Reginald Dumas. He said that the people wanted a new party after the breakup with the PDP and welcomed the attempt to build a people-centered party. Dumas also stated that it was refreshing to see a party being built from the bottom up, rather than leaders taking charge of the process, as has traditionally been done. According to Dumas, there are numerous lessons to be learned from the past mistakes, and just because this bottom-up approach has never been tried before doesn't mean it won't be successful. And finally, according to Fire Officer Arnold Bristow, fire officers battled over 800 fires throughout Trinidad and Tobago for the last year. Most of the fires were bushfires, owing to the harsh dry season being experienced throughout the country. However, many fire stations are challenged by the lack of working fire appliances to aid them in responding to calls in an efficient manner. Bristow also noted that the supply of water in some parts of the country is also a challenge they face when responding to fires. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Back to you, Julian and Rhea.
Thank you so much there. Thank you so much there, Chanel.
Thank you, Chanel, bringing us the news there in 90 seconds. Much happening, Rhea. There is even talk, Rhea, and in fact, we saw the launching out. Interesting, but we chat about that a little after. We're heading on into Tobago in Focus.
Tobago will be well represented at this year's ITB Berlin Convention in Germany. According to Tobago Tourism Agency Limited's chairman, Alicia Edwards, this convention will focus on strengthening relationships with airlines and trade partners facilitated through business-to-business interactions.
So it will not be so much marketing the destination from a consumer perspective, but more talking about the ways that Tobago can be listed. As part of the operations there, what kind of connections we can make for airlines, discussions that we need to have about niche markets, etc. So it's a different kind of show. And so the marketing continues, but it continues at a different level.
In line with ITB Berlin's 2023 theme, Mastering Transformation, Ms. Edwards said efforts are continuing in moving Tobago's tourism stakeholders toward using technology to their advantage by transforming their digital footprint.
First phase is really an assessment of where people are in terms of the kind of support that they would need to become fully online, and then figuring out what we need to do to get them there so that they will be part of a portal. Because the aim of this thing is to ensure that we have a Tobago portal where anybody who wants to come to Tobago will be able to link with where to stay, what to do, what to eat, where to shop.
Ms. Edwards also noted the importance of data collection in guiding policy. She revealed plans for representation to be made to airlines by both Tobago and Trinidad tourism agencies.
So there are some discussions between Trinidad Tourism and ourselves to make a joint representation to the powers that be, to see if we can do something like that, so that even while immigration sorts out its own data things, if we can work with the airlines who are incoming, it will give us the opportunity to capture data. And information is important because it's the only way that you can make good decisions in the face of limited resources.
ITB Berlin will be held from March 7th to 9th, and it's the first time in 4 years gathering physically. The Tobago Tourism Agency Limited is a statutory body under the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transformation.
Yes, good morning and welcome back, viewers, to those of you joining us. This is the Tobago Updates Morning Show coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, Rhea, we're preparing to head on in. Who do we have on the rundown in the mix this morning?
Okay, well, Julian, I'm just hoping for a squeeze here just before we get into the rundown. We still have one more birthday and an anniversary happening. Two more birthdays and an anniversary happening. All right, so we've got my die-hard friend, I call him my die-hard friend from day one, Keith Jack, celebrating our birthday today. So Keith Jack, love going out here from my family, from me, from all of us here at Tobago Updates, and we trust that you have a great one.
Yes, and on screen, my very, very good friend out there, Giselle Boris Vincent.
Hey, Giselle.
Wishing you a happy, happy birthday and God's continued blessings. And from as early as I can recall, I make the point, this is a wedding that I hosted, Giselle and Gavin. Enjoyable time. I really want to wish you the very best, Giselle, as you enjoy your birthday celebration. God's continued blessings.
And this is my sister, my friend. She's my cousin, sister, friend, all wrapped in one. My schoolmate, so many hats she wears. Abian, Auntie Abby, and her husband, Preston, Henry, both celebrating their anniversary today. So happy anniversary going out to Preston and Abian, Henry, and love going out to you from the Cinnamon Hill family, from the Georges, from all of us here at Tobago Updates. Love going out to you guys.
Yes, and you know, there's several comments coming in on the live birthday greetings. And I particularly like the one, Julia Brown, well said, happy anniversary, you put Hollywood marriage to shame. All right. In the mix this morning, all our viewers connecting with us out there on this Easter Tuesday. And thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. Yes.
As well, Julian, as well, I have to say thank you this morning to the young lady who took up the challenge to do my hair. She is 16-year-old Chloe James. 16-year-old Chloe James. Roots are originally, I want to say, from Signal Hill. Her father was the late Pastor Bert James, Chloe James, who did my hair. And I have to say kudos to you. My original Phyllis Grant said, Rhea, give her an opportunity. These are, opportunities for the young people to come up. This is her chance. So I want to say, Chloe, a job well done. Thank you so much, Chloe. As well to the James family, that I met quite recently at Dominion Appliances. So families there shopping and, I'm not say shopping, but looking around, let me just say. And the daddy said to me, they just wanted to say hi. The two girls wanted to say hi. And so I said, are you sure that you know me? She said, yes. Tobago Updates. I was really surprised. She's a tiny little thing. So good morning to, and I hope I get the names correct here. So it's Charlie James, Renata James, Kamali James, Kamali, I think it's Kamali, Shalano is daddy and Risa is mommy. All right, so I really hope I got those names on point. I'm sorry if I did not, but I want to say good morning, a special good morning going out to the James family. Love going out to you guys.
Yes, indeed. And I want to do a quick shout out as well. Benton Wilson, and I'm certain that he's tuned in this morning out there in Maloney, just walking on the mall in Trinidad there. And I want to say thank you so much for that support, because this is usually a gentle reminder to us that we are connecting far and wide.
Yeah.
In fact, when he met me there over the weekend, he said, I hope we'll be back in time for Monday. And it took across the opportunity to meet his wife and so on as well. Want to wish you all the very best and to thank you, those loyal viewers, not just here in Tobago, but those of you even in Trinidad, continuing to view and to support the Tobago Updates morning show. I want to say thank you so much to the entire Wilson family there, Benton Wilson. Thank you so much again for your continued support. Rhea, who do we have on the rundown this morning?
Now we get into the rundown.
Who's coming up? Who's coming up?
That's right. So we're going to be chatting with Nichelle Denoon and Kimberly Job, and they're both representing the Tobago Library Services. And this morning it's all about DIRTech Tobago Library Services. They'll give us more insight into what it is that they do on a daily basis.
All right. And Rhea, Candice is on the outside.
That's
outside.
Right.
We will be chatting with Leroy George, General Manager of Concordia Estate Tobago. And we're going to be touring the Concordia Estate. And I'm looking forward to that interview. I had a chance to be on the outside there with Leroy and his team. So I'm looking forward to that interview this morning.
Right, I understand. Yes, Julian, she is in the bush. According to our producer, she's in the bush. So let's see I wonder what Candice is really up to.
Hi, Rhea and Julian. Yes, I am Candice Jackson for Out and About right here in Tobago on the Concordia Estate, where we are about to go on an ATV adventure. So stick with me for later down in the program and you'll catch all the details. And yeah, I'm going to tell you how you can get involved too. And of course, get on board one of these ATVs. So see you in a bit.
I wish we could have chatted with her there to tell her, make sure that helmet comes back on.
I realize it's sitting up, but she doesn't have, she has a very tiny head, and that helmet seems a lot larger than
But certainly excitement there. And this morning we also get the chance to hear from Ken Marlon Charles. In case you're not sure and in case you're wondering, yes, aka KMC, a soca artist. And we're going to be chatting one-on-one with KMC as we head on into the Tobago Jazz Festival 2023. A really nice lineup in the mix this morning, Rhea.
All right, so up next, Julian, we're going to be chatting with Nichelle Denoon and Kimberly Job. Nichelle Denoon and Kimberly Job, both representing the Tobago Library Services, about some of their services, or DIRTech, the Tobago Library Services, and what they offer.
Excellent. And it's Tuesday, after a long weekend, going to do a quick shout out here. Daniel Smith, Godfrey, Rhea, Anne-Marie, Cindy, Princess Bascom, Selma Lashley, Pearl Murray Beard. Thank you to each and every one of you. Aluma Woods, Karen Wilson, Selby Nimblet. We have Sharon Mills, QK Melville, Lisa James. We want to say good morning, and shout outs to each and every one of you. And thank you so much. Auntie Picky out there.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. As we continue to say thank you to each and every one of you for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show, as we continue to bring you the updates and all the information here firsthand, keeping you in the know. Thank you to each and every one of you, those connecting with us in Tobago, those of you in Trinidad, in the region, and the world at large. Yes, we are at this point prepared to head on out. Stay tuned and stay connected, but this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
To the end of the road. On Sunday, April 23rd, the parade grounds at the Dwight York Stadium will transform for International Night, featuring Grammy Award winners, Boys to Men, and Cuffy.
Where will we go?
Also gracing the stage, Vanette Bigford, Theron Shaw, Tony Paul, Sharon Phillips, and much more. Get your tickets now. Check the Tobago Festivals Commission's website at www.tobagofestivalscommission.com for more, or call them at 639-4441. Come enjoy Tobago Jazz Experience 2023, The Return. Much more than music.
Tobago, it's time to go. Sweet like
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store now.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over.
Tapicom. Welcome to the future. The only card you will need in a new world. Digital business cards. Safe, hassle-free. The future is here. Tapicom. New generation digital transfer. Digital time clock cards, digital attendance cards, air tags, customized designs, digital clothing tags, digital pet tags. Tapicom. The future is here. Contact us today.
Put a smile on your face.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7:23 a.m. and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, viewers, it's Tuesday. It is Easter Tuesday, and this morning we get the conversation started. We're talking library services. We have the opportunity this morning to speak with Nishal Dinoon, manager of the Tobago Library Services, and Kimberly Job, public relations and marketing assistant of the Tobago Library Services, as we speak the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Tobago Library Services. Don't worry, don't get confused. They're going to explain it all to us. You're saying you're hearing the division, you're hearing library services, you're wondering if they're connected any at all. Good morning and welcome, ladies.
Good morning. Hi, good morning to you and good morning to Tobago and all your viewers.
Yes, and as we get the conversation started this morning, let me start with you, Nishal Dinoon. As they say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. As we get started this morning, having responsibility for the Tobago Library Services, just give us a better idea of that understanding with the connection with NALIS as well as with the Division of Education.
Certainly. Tobago Library Services, as you just said, it's under the purview of the Division of Education, Research and Technology. The responsibility of Tobago Library Services has to do with the management and the delivery of library and information services in public libraries, school libraries, institutional libraries, and community libraries. We are also responsible for the Tobago Archives, which is located at the Scarborough Library. Now, you mentioned NALIS and you mentioned, right, so let me clear that up. Now, the legal authority for Tobago Library Services reside both with the Tobago House of Assembly as well as NALIS, National Library and Information System Authority. Now, in the 5th schedule of the Act number 40 of 1996 lists library services as one of the responsibilities of the Tobago House of Assembly. In Act number 18 of 1998, NALIS also have responsibility for the administration of library and information services to Trinidad and Tobago. So because of that anomaly, there was a memorandum of understanding which was signed in 2015, and that memorandum of understanding outlined the roles and responsibilities of both entities, both the THE and NALIS, in ensuring the efficient delivery of library and information services to the people of Tobago.
Excellent. And you know, as you speak to that, let me pull in public relations here, Kimberly, for us to chat just a little bit. That perception and that outlook out there in terms of the importance of the library services, how would you describe it from where you sit as public relations?
You know, before I was, enrolled in this position, sometimes the perception of the library is, is just there. But people sometimes don't understand the importance that the library plays, especially in the development of various communities in any country, So the amount of services that the library offers to the public, it ensures persons who went around years ago, you want to learn about stuff that happened years ago, you go to the library. Different services that are offered, adds to the overall development of citizens in Tobago and on the island.
Nishan, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about those sections that are represented. Very often people make the comparison now and say, oh, we got online and we got Google, so we probably don't need the library anymore. I want you to tell us a little bit about some of those hands-on services. I have enjoyed the beauty of the years. Shout out this morning to Michelle Daly and the likes. Even you, Michelle Denoon, coming in there and being lost and not sure where to turn, and getting that kind of support in terms of being able to find your way in terms of research and so on. Just give us some insight into the services offered.
Right. So you mentioned something there in terms of library and with the invent of technology and so on. For a very long time, persons had this pronouncement that libraries would die in a few years. But in fact, with technology, with the advancement of technology, libraries have in fact evolved. Because we serve people, we meet people's needs. Once technology evolves, you find that people require a different way of accessing their information. And so libraries have to be on board. We have to understand the trends so that our services, our offerings must suit or must be relevant to those needs that persons would have expressed. So over the years, yes, we have the introduction of technology, and you find that instead of persons having to come in to access our services, because we have a libraries of over 120,000 titles in our collection, in the public libraries, that is. But persons are not restricted just to those resources. We have thousands of titles online that persons can access via our website, tls.gov.tt, as well as the NALIS website. So you have online, you have ebooks and Overdrive, we have EBSCO host, you have all of that. And persons are able to access those resources free of charge. Of course, persons can also come into our libraries. We have our 3 public libraries, Scarborough, Roxborough, Charlottesville, and I must add that we also have libraries in the schools. We have libraries in the 9 secondary schools, and Tobago Library Services also provides support to some of the primary schools on the island, right? So persons who come into our spaces, we treat with persons of various age groups. You have the very little ones, the toddlers, right up to the seniors. We have services catering to the needs of all those age groups. So we tend to say whosoever will may come. we have services to meet your need.
You make me smile. Takes me right back to my Scarborough Sec, my Scarborough Sec days. Tell us, Tisha, now as we come forward here today, we are speaking to an anniversary celebration for the library. I want you to give us first the historic perspective, and then we're going to run on into the activities that are set up for this year's celebration.
Right. So the 26th of April, we celebrate 75 years of public library service to Tobago. Now, before, just around 1948, when we started, we offered a subscription type service, and that persons who came to access our services, they were required to pay because government funding was not available at that time. Libraries ran on grants and whatever money that was generated from the subscription service. So we have moved from that to 75 years onwards. And let me give you an idea of what would have taken place. At the time in 1948, you found that libraries served as repositories. So you had knowledge, you have your collection and the shelves, and the librarians, they were really custodians. So they had a very passive approach to the delivery of library services. And then we would have moved on to that. So we've come from there, where librarians served as custodians, to where librarians are actually actively involved in providing not just library services, but information services to patrons. They're actually going out, they're assessing the community within which they operate to find out what are the needs of people so that they can appropriately address those needs. When you look at our collection, now 75 years ago, we had just a few books, and only those persons who were literate, those persons who did heavy research and so on, those were the ones who came into the library spaces. Now, anybody can come into our spaces, even the person who can't really read, those who are not literate, they can come, they can take a book, even if it means looking at a picture or looking at a video, whatever, they can come and the library provide for those persons. We have in our spaces our self-check service so that persons are not reliant on librarians to check out materials to them. They can come in and go to the self-check machines and check out items on their own. We also have our automated book machines. Before, persons had to come into the library and deposit the book for it to be checked in. Now, at any time, we offer 24/7 service. Persons can come to the library, Scarborough Library in particular, and return the items to the machine, and it is placed back on the shelf.
Quite good. It sounds as though I might even be getting ticketed if I run over my time via email in real time.
And certainly, because I remember when I was young, once the book was overdue, I received a notice in the mail that the book was overdue. Now you receive notice, even before the book become overdue, you receive a notice saying in 3 days your book will become overdue, so you need to return the book. And then you get subsequent notices, after the day would have passed.
All right. Kimberly, tell us a little bit about some of the specific activities that will be happening for the celebration period this year, the anniversary celebration.
All right. So the anniversary celebration, it's a week of activities beginning Monday, 24th April, right? We kick off the week with an open mic night, which will be taking place at the Scarborough Amphitheatre from 6 p.m. And it's open to the public. Anybody that wants to take part, you can come and showcase your various talents, whether it be poetry, dance, singing. You come and you perform for us, and we're having an evening of, showcasing everybody's talents and so on. And the registration has been open for persons to register. It's online. You just visit the Tobago Library Services page, you click the link on Facebook, and you register. We have had so many persons come forward to register already. So just to the public, hurry up and register so you can be a part of this very wonderful evening. Right, so that's Monday. We move on to Tuesday, the 25th, right? So we're having a commemorative walk/run, and that begins at 5 a.m. So, we have to get up early in the morning and come out to Scarborough to begin that walk. Some persons may not know that the Scarborough Library, it did not be, the first Scarborough Library was not at the space where it is now.
Right.
Yes, right? So the walk will allow us to move to the different spaces where the library was housed during the years. Okay, so we will begin the walk at the PRDI main building. That's uptown, right? That's the first stop. And then, we have our introduction and a little speech about the area and the building and so on. And we move along to the former General Administrative Building. That's at Gillingham Street, where we do the same thing again. And then we come down, that's the second stop. The third stop now will be the Scarborough Library, where it is now, right? And then, because the next stop will be Signal Hill, that's following the earthquake, we will have now a run from there, okay? So we have some staff members who have volunteered themselves to be a part of that run, and it's sort of like a baton handing over ceremony. So we have different legs of the run. So you'll see us on the morning handing over on different legs all the way up to Signal Hill, and then all the way back down to the Scarborough Library where it is right now. And the different legs, and we also have a very able head of the library who will bring it home from on the last leg, from the port, the Scarborough port, all the way to the library. So we'll be behind her, pushing her and willing her along.
And that's what I love, folks, about Michelle Denoon. For as long as I have known her, all things library, she makes it exciting for you and that level of commitment. So very good, leading the way.
Leading the way, exactly. So that will be on Tuesday. So Wednesday now is where we have our Thanksgiving service, and this will be a combined celebration with the Division of Education, Research and Technology. So we're having that Thanksgiving service at the Shaw Park Complex, and that will begin at 9 a.m. So we have representatives from the library who will be doing different things on the day, along with the persons from the Division of Education. Right? So it's a combined effort where we come together to give thanks and give praise, right? The Thursday now will be the ending of the Biggest Loser Challenge. And I say ending because we have already begun that journey. The Biggest Loser Challenge is an event where we allow persons to see how much weight they can lose within a certain time. And that would be a month, right? So we began that on the 27th of March, where persons journey to Roxborough to weigh in and so on and get their weight, and then start to undertake, the challenge in terms of trying to lose as much weight as possible to win some beautiful, attractive prizes, Julian, right?
Yes.
So on Thursday, we will all go back to Roxborough to do the final weigh-in and see who comes out victorious in that challenge and who will walk home with the different prizes, the beautiful prizes, that we have to offer. So that's on Thursday. Right, on Friday, in everything, we cannot leave out our wonderful staff who is the engine room, in making things happen. So on Friday 28th, we head to the Buko Integrated Facility where we will have a staff fun day. Nice. Right, so staff from the Scarborough Library, the Roxborough Library, and the Charleville Library will all come together, right, to have a day of fun, games, to encourage camaraderie among staff, because sometimes on a daily basis, we are only around persons who we are around, and we need to try to integrate and come together. And so that will be a wonderful way of doing that. We have 4 teams that we already split up into, and myself and Mr. Nula on the red team, and we're gonna be taking it home. Yes, but let me not brag. Everybody's gonna come together and try and win. To win bragging rights at the end of the day. But we're taking it already. So to the other 3 teams, just look out for us. We will be there. We're taking it, but it's a love still, right? Saturday now we have 2 events. We are focusing on the children with a children's fun day that will take place at the Scarborough Library from 9 a.m. and this will cater to children ages 4 to 12, right? So they could come out. They're having fun, face painting, bouncy castle, storytelling on that day, and just for the children to enjoy themselves as they are a big part of the library and we want to celebrate them. And on that same day, we will be taking our senior citizens on a road trip to Charlottesville, right? To get them out in the house and have a good time. Charlottesville is one of the best villages in Tobago. I have to say that, right? And we are going to have a day out with them. They're going to be entertained by the Charlottesville Heritage performers and just have a wonderful day in the scenic, picturesque village of Charlottesville. And that's the closing up our week of activities.
And I've heard a full lineup there, catering to our children, catering to our seniors, and the wide cross-section in terms of Tobago. Just for the benefit of our viewers tuned in, which activities are open to the general public and how do persons make contact in order to participate?
Right, so the general public can take part in the open mic night event that's on the 24th. That's kicking off the week of activities on Monday. Registration, you visit our Facebook page. There's the flyer and you'll see the link below just to click and register with us, right? Registration is still open and you can register. And the next event for the public, well, it's the biggest is a challenge, but that has already begun, right? So persons from the public are in that, but registration would have, closed off for that. And also the Children's Fund Days for the public also, that registration has closed off. We had an overwhelming response, over 70 persons, coming in and so on. And that's for the public, but it is also closed off. So the only thing right now that is open is the open mic night. So we're encouraging persons to still come out and register, and let's have a great evening.
Excellent. So you have an opportunity on Monday the 24th. What time does it get started?
At 6 p.m.
At 6
Scarborough
p.m.
Amphitheatre.
Yes, and it's a while you haven't heard about the Scarborough Amphitheatre, so it's a good opportunity to head on out. If you might remember those days on the mall area. Not me, I'm not, I'm not young enough to remember it, but so as we continue the conversation, Nichelle here, tell us this week long celebrations, the importance and the significance of it, and when you make the comparison with over the years and recognizing the need to celebrate the anniversary of the Tobago Library Services.
Certainly, and we'll be celebrating our anniversary, our 75th anniversary under the theme honoring the past, embracing the present, creating the future. And in honoring the past, we want to recognize the contribution of persons who would have worked with us in the past. Quite recently, we had 2 members of staff who passed away, in fact 3, and they would have made significant contribution to Tobago Library Services. So as we celebrate, we want to remember them, we want to honor them, we want to thank them for the contribution that they would have made, I guess, posthumously. Embracing the present, we want to look at where we are and to be appreciative of the fact that we are in a space that embraces all fields of knowledge and gives us the opportunity to grow. So I speak to the staff and I would normally tell them that use the opportunity you have now. You may not be in library services, for the rest of your life, but you are here now. And it presents a host of opportunities for you to learn and to grow and to serve your fellow men, right? So take the opportunity, embrace it. I also encourage them to look at trends in the field of library studies, library science, in technology, because technology is really at the forefront of library and information services, and to think of where we want to be, where we want to go. And so in doing that, create the possibilities for us to continue to evolve and to continue to serve our patrons as their needs change over time because of technology.
And you speak about education and studies, and that's a whole other conversation with the avenues that are available for study in terms of within the library sector. Very quickly before we wrap this morning, Kimberly, closing words?
Yes. In terms of the Thanksgiving, it's our 75th anniversary, and that's a major feat to achieve, I just want to say, I encourage everybody to, come on this journey with us. 75th is nothing to be played with, we've achieved so much over the years. And our library services are offered to all in Tobago. If you haven't utilized them yet, come Scarborough, Roxborough, Charlottesville, we are here for you. We are here to serve you. And as we look forward to our Thanksgiving celebrations, I just want to thank all of Tobago who have been on this journey with us and who continue to remain with us and support us.
Excellent. And as we close this morning, Nichelle Dilnoon, head of the Tobago Library Service, tell us your closing words.
Right. So I want to say thanks to the staff of Tobago Library Services because persons don't understand really the kind of work that goes into managing libraries or making resources available for the public to come in and benefit from. We have our technical services unit where the books are they're purchased, they're processed, they're made available for the shelves, and persons don't know what goes in there. And the staff at technical services, I want to recognize you this morning, those who work in the public spaces. And there are a lot of persons who work in the public spaces that have to interact with persons in the public who have mental health issues, and it's very challenging for them. And so we have to bring in the people at the mental health unit to assist us in treating with that. I thank you for your continued support, your continued willingness to treat or to offer a service, even though you have those challenges. I want to continue to encourage you. Those persons who work in the schools, we have persons or staff in 9 secondary schools on the island. Sometimes they may feel alone because you're out there, but I just want to continue to encourage you and to thank you for the kind of service that you have been rendering over the years. So I say big up to all Tobago Library Services staff, those who are looking on, those who maybe look at the interview later on. I want to thank you, and I want to encourage you to continue to serve your people. And thank you.
Thank you very much, dear viewers. Kimberly Joe, Public Relations and Marketing Assistant at the Tobago Library Services, and Nichelle Denoon, Librarian for and the Head of the Tobago Library Services, joining us here on set this morning. Thank you so much for connecting with us here on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And to those of you joining us via TV, those listening in on the radio, we want to thank you so much for continuing to choose us. And those of you online, remember that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. I am Candice Jackson, and you are watching Out and About with me. We are here at the Concordia Estate for a wonderful experience. So the Concordia Estate, I would think it's a little known secret right here in Tobago, just on the way to Mason Hall. And why it's a little known secret? Well, it has such a huge historical value. There's a lot of artifacts and so on here. So we're going to get into it, but first let me introduce you to the manager of Concordia Estates, none other than Mr. Leroy George. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candice. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago Updates. Such a pleasure having you guys with us here today.
Now, as I mentioned, this Concordia estate is something that has huge historical value. So can you give me a brief history about the estate itself?
Certainly, Concordia Estate is one of the oldest estates in Tobago. We know that for a couple of reasons, right? There has been research done by a university in the United Kingdom, which shows you all the different owners of the original estate, which would have been Barbados Bay number 16 and Barbados Bay number 26 when it was sectioned off back in the 1700s and 70s. But even before that, you will see in the research that even before that it was an estate. Most of the estates in Tobago would have started around the 1776 era, and just after that, as a result of the end of the Anglo-French War. Another one of the reasons, besides the research that was done by that university, why we know that it was an older estate, if you look right behind us right there, you notice this salmon tree right here. Even behind us here, you have a salmon tree here, this salmon tree over here, etc. They're all located in such a way that we know that they were planted intentionally, right?
And then there was some research that was done about the age of the trees themselves.
Yes, there was some research about the age of the trees, and we understand the trees to be well over 300 years old. And so that's why we know this is one of the, there is one of the two reasons we know this is one of the oldest estates in Tobago.
So what were some of the things that were produced here? What made up the plantation?
Well, back in the days of slavery, obviously they would have been processing a lot of sugar cane, turning it into sugar, right? It appears as though this was one of the more advanced estates. The reason being, when you look at the estates where you see the windmill being the means whereby they would squeeze the juice out of the sugar cane, you know that was like not quite the bottom line or the lowest level of plantation, but it wasn't quite as highly esteemed as, say, an estate like this one where the water wheel, which you'll see a little bit later on today, is actually a water wheel in contrast to wind turbine.
Yes, and as you mentioned water wheel, you know, there's a lot of people here in Tobago think that we only really have two water wheels, and that is Anna's Vale and Speyside, but the truth is there's actually quite a lot of water wheels hidden all around in Tobago, and this is just one of them.
Yeah, I know of about 11 of them or so, and this is just one of them. Not one of the best preserved, but not one of the worst preserved either.
Right. Now, so what became of the estate after the days of slavery, after the plantation and so on?
Well, we actually have a ledger right here on the estate. We have a small museum, right? And we actually have the original ledger, and what it tells you, there isn't a lot that is said in that ledger between 1838 when slavery ended right up until 1950, because the ledger starts from 1950. And what we see from 1950 is that in the 1950s there was a lot of cattle farming here at Concordia Estate. We imported a lot of cattle from India, especially in this area. However, when you look at the ledger, you see that after Hurricane Flora 1963 era, there wasn't so much of that cattle farming taking place, right? What we see happening more at that point is that you had the cocoa and the coffee being processed here. And this building right behind us right here was the original. If you look at it, you'd see the first half, there's a lower roof than the front half. Where the lower roof is, that was the original cocoa house. It's built in such a way, and we were able to maintain that part of it whereby the roof could slide on and off at any point. So the people who would have been working here, they don't have to carry in, whenever rain started to fall, rush to carry in all the cocoa and coffee, etc. And so they were doing cocoa and coffee, but we see between 1963 to about 1970. After 1970, however, we see a ledger that was made out in order to gain a loan from Barclays Bank. And in that ledger, they went into details about quite a few things that went wrong here. If you were to look up in this tree here long enough, you're going to see some squirrels. Apparently, there were a lot more of those squirrels at that time, and the squirrels were devastating the plantation. Also, there was a bit of a disease that was affecting the cocoa negatively. You'd notice this big excavator here. Back then they would have liked to have this excavator. The reason for that being, the land here, the geology of the land here is such that the rock, there's always landslides, long story short. And as a result of that, they needed a loan. So anyway, around the 1970s, that is when the agriculture would have had a big decline in the area. As a result of that, quite a few owners from that time to now started to experiment with agrotourism, and we're doing the same thing here today.
And now, so you all have transformed this into a place where people can come and visit. And we're going to take you to some of those places that we mentioned, especially the water wheel. We're going to get on the ATV and I'm going to go down. So stick with me. Well, viewers, the way to get down to this water wheel is on the ATV. And let me tell you something, this trail is absolutely amazing. So let me just get this all switched off here. Right, and take off my helmet. And we're going to show you the water wheel and some more, not just the water wheel, there's actually quite a lot here of ruins that are still intact. So if you want to have a little information about, you know, just what some of these places used to look like sometimes, you're going to find it really soon. Right, Leroy?
Can this reach?
Yes, I reach. So we're going towards the water wheel now, right?
Yep, we are just about 20 meters, 10 meters even, away from the water wheel. Let's come inside and see what it's all about.
So what is this right here? Is this like, what is the structure?
So this structure here, we have the belief, right, based on the research that we've seen, that coming down to the last couple of days, or years rather, of slavery, this area would have been built. And the reason why we come to that conclusion is that the infrastructure, it kind of requires more male slaves, and we saw that there was a sale of some female slaves and an import of some male slaves around that time, right? 1830s about. See this water wheel right here?
That's one of the gears from the water wheel.
This is the main gear from the water wheel, right? So when the water from the river turned the water wheel, this gear would turn. And then they would attach to it a smaller gear, right? Now imagine if this gear is turning slowly, because obviously the water isn't rushing that fast. Let's say it's turning like 5 times per minute, right? You put a wheel about half the size of that with the same size gears, and what happens? It spins twice as fast. And then eventually you have 3 big rollers that would have been here in times past, and persons would have stood right here, feed the sugarcane into the rollers, and then the juice would run out right here, and then we'd go over to this area here.
Right, and then just before, you know, I know viewers wanted to see the wheel itself, so let's give them just a little look at the wheel. So right here you have the wheel still quite intact. The only thing missing are the little louvers, or the eaves from the wheel that, you know, would capture the water to keep the wheel turning as the water flow out. So this is quite remarkable. It's not as big as some of the other water wheels that we have here in Tobago, but it is still quite remarkable that this is here still intact. So Leroy, as we're walking over to the next area, tell me what we're about to see.
What you're about to see is that area which part the juice, the cane juice, would have been, after it comes out from the water wheel there, they'll bring it over into this area, and this is where they will boil that cane juice. And when boiling the cane juice, first it will turn into kind of coagulated mixture of solid and liquid, and eventually you have that brown sugar that we are accustomed to today, right?
Wow, and so we're upon another structure here, and this is what?
This is the structure where the boiling was taking place. This is the piece of infrastructure where boiling would take place.
Wow.
So you'd have the pots in areas like here, and on the other side of this large wall here, you would see which part you had some little mini ovens that would be used in order to have that boiling process take place.
So in other words,
here's an example of one right here.
It holds like this, and I know the camera's going to come pretty soon, but it holds like this. What you do, you take wood, firewood, stick it in and light it, and then that's how they boiled the sugar.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Boil the juice and turn it into sugar.
Yes. Wow, this is absolutely, viewers, I'm not sure if you're really getting this on camera, right? And this is perhaps why you need to actually come and see it and experience it for yourself, because we can only give you a little taste, but this is quite a huge structure here in the middle of the bush. All right, but there's more to see, so we're going across to where
the dam, just where, as you'd imagine, a river doesn't always provide the kind of pressure necessary in order to keep that big water wheel spinning, and so you need a dam so that you could store that water. So when you're ready to use the water wheel, you just open the dam. You're going to see where the dam would open and where all the water would rush out.
All right, viewers, so I just came down this really massive hill where some gardening, some ventures into gardening is happening, but it's just all part of the experience when you come here. So naturally, if you're coming here, make sure you walk with good shoes and long pants, because you're in the bush, right? So we're going down to the dam that Leroy just spoke about. And Leroy, so can you give us a, just give us an idea?
Once you come off the ATV trail,
yes,
right, we also do carriage rides too. Once you come off that same trail, pass through the garden that Candice just spoke about, you reach the river here. About 100 meters, maybe a little more than 100 meters. That's where we're going to see the dam that fed the water wheel. Candice, the good news is that the hard part of the journey has been completed, at least on the way to the dam. And so here we are at the dam that fed the water wheel, that squeezed the sugar cane.
Wow. So we are here at the dam. And it is crazy that this structure exists.
Well kept, isn't it?
Yes,
it is well kept. And you see that little doorway there? There would have been a door, for want of a better reason, wording rather. Of course, it was watertight at that time, and you'd block off the water. And so on the other side, which you could see if you want to see the other side also, on the other side, the water would pile up there. And just when they're ready to squeeze that sugar cane and get the juices out, they'd open it up. And there'd be such a rush of water. As you could see, the water is even now, after hundreds of years, well, 180, 90 years of no longer being in use in any major way since the end of slavery. Even now, you could see the water rushing a little more than you would see in other places.
So does this always flow?
All the time. Because even though the door is open, the wall itself creates an area that is so much smaller than the overall width of the river. That water is always piling on the other end faster than it's coming through. So this particular area, there's no other part of the river where you're guaranteed to see water all the time. This is the area where water will always be, and on the other side of it also.
And then the sound of the water falling, there's something about it that's just so relaxing.
Isn't it, right?
But I mean, what is amazing, like I said earlier, is just being able to construct this, build this here in basically the middle of nowhere. I mean, what it would have taken for, the people, the slaves at that time, to be able to construct this. It is quite remarkable. And well, viewers, I mean, first of all, thank you, Leroy, for showing us, just giving us this tour and giving you, the viewers, just a quick little look at what exists in Concordia. I know many of you did not even dream of this, but yes, this is just a little something for your little teaser, which means it is now your turn. You need to get connected, and you need to get down here and experience this for yourself. Take a whole day, bring your family, and have an educational experience, because the history is a lot bigger, a lot more detailed than what we shared with you in this little segment. We cannot begin to cover that history in this little segment, but we hope that we just gave you a little taste of what we have. All right, so I mean, first of all, Leroy, again, thank you. How can people get connected with Concordia Estates?
Well, You could always call 750-8369 if you're calling from our overseas number. That's +1 868-750-8369. Also, Concordia Estate has its Facebook page. They also have a symbiotic relationship with Green Tobago Tours because it's one family, right? So once you're attending Concordia Estate, you could get discounts on all other tours like dolphin watching, fishing, bioluminescence, glass bottom boat, etc. by just calling 750-8369.
All right, viewers, well, I don't need to say any more. So you get connected while I just enjoy just taking in the ambience here. That's it for me, Candace Jackson. We go to a break and there's more coming up for you on the Tobago Updates morning show. Whew.
Welcome to L'Image Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
Tobago, it's time to go. Geld in die eigene Sweet like
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store now.
Tobago is Easter, so join us. Call Thorns Place 745-7306 or 682-8676 and book your stay now. Rooms as low as 200 TT. Message us on WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. Just a 5-minute drive from the Scarborough Port. Tobago is Easter, so join us. Oh, to the end of the road.
On Sunday, April 23rd, the parade grounds at the Dwight York Stadium will transform for International Night, featuring Grammy Award winners, Boys to Men, and Cuffy.
Where will we go?
Also gracing the stage, Vanette Bigford, Theron Shaw, Tony Paul, Sharon Phillips, and much more. Get your tickets now. Check the Tobago Festivals Commission's website at www.tobagofestivalscommission.com for more, or call them at 639-4441. Come enjoy Tobago Jazz Experience 2023, The Return. Much more than music.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival Fever. Book your passage and come on over.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, it's Tuesday. It's Easter Tuesday, coming after a long weekend celebration. Good Friday and the full lineup. Yesterday we would have had Easter Monday, and today Easter Tuesday. If you're in Trinidad and Tobago, you enjoyed that long weekend. And if you're in Tobago, you are still enjoying the Easter celebrations as we continue here in 2023. Ria, oh, how the year seems to be running ahead.
That's right, Julian. And it's really important for us to stop and take some time to smell the roses and enjoy life. What you find happening is at the end of it all, you wonder, I mean, what is life? You know, you would have lived, you worked hard every day, 7 days a week, 12 months for the year, and you what do you have to show for it at the end of it? You'd have lived life doing everything else, but not enjoying what God has given to us. Yeah?
Yes, and on that note, we want to send out, indeed, we're in Tobago and challenging times, and particularly at that, we're still seeing, murders taking place in Tobago, recorded once again over the course of this Easter period, yet another passing. And so we want to remind the persons out there, let's really try to be our neighbor's keeper, looking out, providing that guidance and support from as early as possible to really avoid as best as we can in these circumstances. So we're sending out condolences to the family out there in terms of, the murder that would have taken place. And more importantly, even those persons who reside in the respective areas that have to experience these kind of challenges within their area. Further to that, we also want to send out condolences to, rest in peace, Miss Cindy Gordon, the family of Cindy Gordon, and she's class of 1994 out of Signal Hill. Again, we say indeed rest in peace and condolences going out to the entire family. And we also have this morning Lennon Roberts, again, rest in peace, class of 1997. Yet another passing out there. And in any circumstance, this is always a challenging time for any family at all.
Yeah, and I'm understanding, Julian, that they both died in the same accident. It was a motorcycle accident. They were both riding, and they unfortunately met their demise at that point. So condolences to the family. Not familiar faces, but it doesn't matter that they're not familiar to me. They belong to somebody, and so we extend condolences and God's peace to the family.
Yes, indeed. This morning, as a gentle reminder to all, and just to connect in terms of, I think we have a few more birthdays, or do we have our
condolences?
Yes, we've got another condolence before we go into the rest of birthday celebrations.
That's right, and this is a son of Signal Hill, and this is Don Briggs, and this is just how you know him. Sporting the goal, usually a big guy, not small in stature by any means, who passed away. It could have been yesterday or this morning, but we want to extend condolences to the family and the community as well, because he was very actively involved in the community with young persons. So we want to take the time this morning to extend condolences to the family and the people of Signal Hill, Tobago. So condolences going out to you guys.
Yes, indeed, never an easy thing at all to be treated with, but we're very conscious under the circumstances, and all those families experiencing and treating with this challenging time. I guess this is where we all have to continue to hold fast, and if you have the Christian faith and so on, you continue to put your trust in God, or whomsoever you believe in terms of that greater being. Quick shout out this morning on the live with us this morning. We have Marilyn David, I see in the mix this morning. Daniel Smith Hodge, Lucretia Williams, good morning to you. Troy Denoon, I see the birthday girl is on the live this morning. Giselle Boris Vincent, thank thank you for giving us a moment there of this birthday celebration to join us on the live. Giselle, Boris, Vincent this morning connecting with us. I even see my neighbor in the mix, Nita Peters, and she's sharing or continuing to share the love, connecting with us from Dallas, Texas. So thank you so much for the continued love and support. This is the Tobago Updates morning show. And just before, we wind down things this morning on this Easter Tuesday. Yes, we got some more photos in the mix. We got another birthday celebration. My very good friend out there, Crystal Edwards. Crystal Edwards, wishing you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings. I trust that you enjoy the birthday celebrations.
Most definitely. I see Dave Elliott on the live this morning asking, how come nobody mentioned goat race? So it's happening at Buku. It's happening at Buku later on today. Yesterday was Mount Pleasant.
He probably missed when I started off this morning. Yes, I spoke about the entire lineup of activities here and the fact that we have an unofficial holiday. So as a reminder to persons, excellent celebration yesterday, Mount Pleasant hosting, and today it is down to Buku as part of the unofficial holiday in Tobago. So let the celebrations continue. Certainly to allow those celebrations to continue here.
All right. And we got
on the line this morning, KMC. All right, our final segment here this morning. Before we close, we should have connecting with us KMC, Ken, Marlon, Charles. Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm cool, I'm good. And you, how are you?
We're good. We are good. We are excited. It's Tuesday, and we've got great and exciting things coming up in April. Yes, we're looking forward to Tobago Jazz 2023.
Well, Tobago, where all are they always beautiful. Tobago always nice. You understand?
As we get the conversation started, I realized you're on the move this morning. I can't even get you in one spot for the interview.
No, well, I went on the computer, but I'm not getting you at all. So I come on the phone and then know which part the router is. I have to move to come up in the house, more up in the house, so I can get
making sure that you connect with us. So as we get the conversation going this morning, I want you to tell us a little bit what's been happening with Ken Marlon Charles, KMC, as many would know you.
Well, Ken Marlon Charles always working. I am always working on always creating music, always trying to help younger ones in music. And mainly I always trying to see about my spirituality, because I think that is first, that is the whole incarnation of man, we really supposed to obey God commandments, fear God and obey His commandments. So for the past few years, when you age bringing reasoning and you realizing your spiritual life is more than your carnal life, so at least try and start somewhere. And this is where I reach now. So plenty things that I used to do, you find I don't do it again. But I love to sing. I'm always singing.
All right. And we're certainly going to get a sample of what you've got to offer for 2023 before we end this morning's interview. But what would you say is your preferred genre of music? Now, I know that you are on the lineup for the Tobago Jazz Experience 2023, but what is your preferred genre of music?
Well, I don't really have a preferred genre of music. I love all kind of music. We from the land of soca, and I respect that. Soca is what I do. Soca is what bring me to the front line. I used to do dancehall music, the youth man. So I thought that was the preferred thing until I touched our own thing. My mother always saying, "Boy, just soca, boy, just soca." And them days I wasn't on that at all. But when I started to try it, I started to do it in my way, my style, my way. And when it hit with my first hit, soca bashment and bashment de carnaval. It's carnaval, festival. When I sing that song and I see how that move the people and the feeling I get from that song, I decide to take it further. And so, but to say like a preferred genre, I listen to all type of music. I love all type of music. It helped me to be creative, right up to this day.
international representation? Because certainly coming out of, I think it's either Rio Claro or Chaguanas, if my information is accurate, and really taking soca far and wide internationally. Tell us about that experience.
Well, boss, in my little time in my career, I have accumulated two major record deals. The first one when I had You Set My Soul on Fire. When I had that song, I was signed to Ultra Records and I sell 285 copies. I reached on the Billboard chart at number 80 something and then number 67 or something like that. And then that was in 2005. And then in 2011, I came and I signed to Universal Records to carry the thing further. But I think the industry really didn't understand what we was doing or what we was trying to accomplish. Because around that time, they started to make a noise around my name. I wasn't here, but I was hearing little people call me and tell me things. You know, and they really didn't support what I was trying to do. I think if they had supported, it would have created a nice look in the eyes of the people who own the record label, and they would have been looking for more like us. But because of that stall there, I think we still stall. You know, because it wasn't a nice thing that was done in the industry at all to what we were trying to accomplish. But you know what? We move on from that. And right now, to tell you the truth, I just enjoying my career. I just enjoy, and wherever the music goes, I'm still experimenting with music, still trying new things. You know, trying to upgrade the soca, which I hope men watching and listening, right? And we still trying to get that music to that standard. You know, because this is our thing, and what it create food, a career for the younger ones coming. It have a lot of younger ones coming into the music business, right? And we don't want them to meet it as hard as we meet it. You know what I mean? So we just want to continue to do our best of what we could do for the younger ones to come.
All right, so give us an idea of what we can expect from KMC for 2023 for the Tobago Jazz Experience. We want a taste, we want a sample. What can we expect?
Tobago Jazz Festival, I have never, this is my first time I will be at the Tobago Jazz Festival. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much, Megan and Arnold and the rest of the team. Thank you very much for having me, because it's something I always wanted to do, because I know I have a nice catalog of music that will suit that kind of vibe. You know, and I don't like to give out things out of the bag because I'm a kind of spontaneous person. I have no music plan out. And when I reach there and I watch the crowd, I will know how I'm dealing with the crowd according to how the crowd move. And the people know KMC and how it's performed. So they know, all right, then you will take it. He's supposed to mash up the place. He's supposed to give you a good thing. And just knowing that I know the people know that I was trying, not just try, but make sure and don't disappoint. You know, so Tobago Jazz Festival, I'll be at Speyside on the 22nd. Look out, KMC will be there along the rest of artists, and we're gonna have a time. My boy down in Tobago, man, I can't wait to reach down on that side of Rockborough down there and eat some nice Tobago food with coconut and thing. And I want to be down there for all days of the Jazz Festival to really experience it. What is it like, you know?
All right, excellent. And we want to thank you so much. Looking forward to KMC. I wonder if I get a taste of anything.
Pontina, when I reach down Tobago.
Where you want a taste of? They have to wait for the arrival when you're here.
You have to wait. The people them don't know what we're already. When I reach down there, I want to see you.
We look forward to having you hit the jazz stage for 2023. Yes, folks, it's KMC. And as you can hear, rightfully so, Ria, he is also excited about this appearance. It's his first appearance on the jazz stage and looking forward for 2023.
And did you hear what he said? When he comes, he's looking out to see you.
Yes. You might even see Ria, man, since you're in Speyside. So, viewers, we want to thank you so much. Yes, that was KMC Ken Marlon Charles. He will also be hitting the Jazz 2023 stage as we continue to connect one-on-one with these artists in the lineup, those that will be making appearances here for Jazz 2023. Ria?
Yep, it's that time.
Yes, it's that time as we prepare to head on out. Viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. But just before we close again this morning, just a few captures to continue to remind us as we speak to celebration time. And you know, I like to kind of title this over the years, just as we wrap this morning. Ria, you got to give us these years, Ria. You got to give us these years.
Oh my.
Yes, happy anniversary to Ria and Oswald celebrating. Okay, she can't remember this year. Let's move on to the next as we run down this morning. Ria, give us the year, Ria.
This is 20
something.
19, I think.
Yes, Ria, give us the years.
This is way back. This is way, oh my God. Wow, I can't even remember the year.
We're celebrating today. It's an anniversary celebration. It's that time
this is 2019.
Yes, Ria and Oswald.
This is during COVID. This is a COVID anniversary. This is our COVID anniversary. Yeah, this was 25, was
yes.
it? I think it's 25 years.
So we want to wish you the very, very best, Ria, and to continue to enjoy the celebrations. Yes, Oswald, you've got today into all day tomorrow. Continue those celebrations. What didn't happen over the weekend, we know it's going to happen in this week, but we want to wish you all the very best coming from the entire Tobago Updates family as we continue to share our love with you and to trust that you will continue to enjoy your anniversary celebration.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tobago Updates team. Thank you.
All right, so viewers, we thank you again for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. Yes, and remember, we are in the Easter celebration. It's Tuesday. Head on out today to the Buku celebrations. And kudos and commendations yesterday for Mount Pleasant as we continue to enjoy the Easter celebrations taking place here in Tobago. We thank you for choosing, those of you joining us via TV, those listening in on the radio, and for those of you online. Remember, we're heading out. It's the Tobago Updates morning show, but we're heading straight on over to GMT with Chanel Felix this morning. Take care and bye-bye for now.
You make me realize for all these years what I was missing out. You see this, yeah? I'm playing again, I'm whining again, I'm jumping up with all my friends I'm dead. I'm playing me man, I'm playing me. Come on, wave your hand when you beat your pass.
The layout of the house is like 2 bedrooms, a toilet, the room, kitchen. The size is like 11 by 10, washroom like normal concept. Have a living room, a dining room here. I say completion of this building, so we have about 2 weeks time max. We're doing a cladding on the outside, the inside is a fire rating board, gypsum ceiling, right? And normal tiles and stuff on the ground.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia. Let's go. It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying Tobago is number one.
and welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. You know, when you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have to get your day started and ask those questions that you want to be asked and you want to know. This morning, we're going to start off talking a bit about some politics. Now, last week we saw something quite historical happening here on the island of Tobago, something that we've never really seen before. We've seen the progression or the preparation for a new party launch happening basically in the public domain, whereby we have members of this current administration who are currently preparing to launch a new party, having had that preparation to launch event at the Shore Park Cultural Complex. Now, we saw that they only invited members to sit in, and the media was briefly invited to sit in for the introduction of that session. But all in all, we heard from Dr. Faith B. Israel as well as Natasha Second, who made it clear that the preparation for launch was not an actual launch of the party, which was a bit of a confusion in the public space. Now, this morning, we're going to get a bit more into that conversation. We're going to dig down into the details and find out if this party is really going to be a viable option for Tobagonians within the next elections. And to have that conversation this morning, I have the privilege of sitting with Mr. Anthony James, who is a political activist on the island of Tobago here, and a man who is extremely vocal in regards to this progression of a new dawn of politics in Tobago. Because what we have seen within the last year is something that is quite new to the political environment on the island of Tobago, and we will deem it the progression of the new dawn of politics on the island. And so I just want to welcome you, Mr. James. Thank you for taking the time out to sit with me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Right, and we're gonna dig down a bit into that, what we saw happening last week with the preparation for this new party launch. And we saw in the news in 90 seconds earlier this morning that former head of the public service, Reginald Dumas, he came out and he commented and he applauded them for the efforts being made to actually move out on their own, separating themselves from that contentious PDP banner and having the independence that the people have requested to start a new party. So maybe we start off with some general views and perspectives on what we've seen happening last week from you.
Yeah, well, you spoke of the dawn of a new politics in Tobago. I agree with that. Well, you said on the island.
Yes, a progression of that new dawn.
I don't agree with you that it's a politics on the island.
Okay.
You know, that terminology, we have to be very careful with the on the island thing, because it doesn't speak to ownership. It speaks to that status we just on an island, and it's something that we have to be wary of, because all that is political. You won't hear Trinidadians saying that, and Bajans and the other people. It has been reserved for Tobagonians because of the language we have heard from Trinidad as describing us. But we have to be in our own minds and in our own reality, our own truth. And the fact of the matter is that we are in our own country, and we are a nation here in Tobago. And it's from that perspective, Chanel, that Tobagonians must perspectivize ourselves and conceive ourselves. The politics must have that consciousness inside of it. It can't be where we're just on the island, because that is what is going on in the politics. Now, we have what we call a band or group of independents in the executive council, and you have the assistant secretaries and so on. Now, they all came about as a result of one man. So that if we have to ascribe a vision, a known articulated vision, we have to ascribe that vision to the leader. Because remember how it happened? 2015, Mr. Duke came in as an independent, and by 2017 he formed a political party for the Tobago House of Assembly election, and then the rest now is history. So Mr. Duke would have been going around and picking up people. Now Mr. Duke is no longer there with them. The question is now, how do we ascertain attribute a vision really to the Lord? How do we ascertain and attribute, attach a vision to Fali Augustine? Fali Augustine is very new and he has been earmarked to be the political leader. Now, I really don't know Fali Augustine in the political space any length of time. He has not articulated and negotiated a vision and a direction to the people of Tobago. He has not forged that. That his vision has not been really discussed. So I really don't know. And the population actually don't know. And herein lies, this is a question that we must ask ourselves and we must answer. What is the purpose of a political party in a history, in a nation, in a people, in an experience such as Tobago? What is necessary at this point in time? What really is necessary?
Right. And you suggested that the vision would have come from Mr. Duke, which...
An articulated vision to the public.
Correct. Yeah. Now, that was a vision for the dawn of a new political era. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people kind of like to look at the whole Watson Duke Farley situation kind of like the whole David and Solomon situation, whereby even though David wanted to build that temple, he was not able to because his son was the one who had the ability to. When Solomon came in, he was the one who had the ability to, who God allowed to do that. So many people see it as although he may have set the stage for a new dawn of politics, he may not have been able to, like Moses, even enter into the promised land because of certain things that would have kept him back from that. Now, we would have seen certain public dispositions of Mr. Duke that would have been a public demonstration that there's a certain level of leadership and competence that he may not have in order to really carry the people of Tobago to the place where we are globally competitive, where we can be taken seriously on the global stage.
But that may be so, and I'm not really dealing with the shortcomings of Watson Duke or even the pluses, so to speak. I'm just really dealing with context, because we must answer the question, what really is the purpose? So what are we going to get out of a political party at the end of the day?
And first then all, that brings into question, how can we separate the things that were said on the campaign trail by Mr. Duke as opposed to what was said by Mr. Augustine? Because we saw as a part of their strategy during that campaign that Mr. Duke, especially within the last election that took place at the December 6th election, we saw him taking a backseat. We saw Mr. Augustine coming forward and being a lot more vocal in regards to understanding that he was the more appealing character to the public. So then therein lies the question, whose vision was Farley articulating? Was he articulating the greater vision of the PDP party at that time, or was that his vision for Tobago? Yeah. And therein we can begin to question if that was his vision for Tobago or that was the PDP vision for Tobago.
Well, I say the root of it would have been Mr. Duke. What I'm really trying to answer here is the relevance of a political party or political parties or groupings and ideology actually in Tobago. What is the ideology that is necessary for Tobago? You follow what I'm saying? So I'm saying, first of all, we have to answer that question. We might just have a party just there for the purpose of winning an election and occupying office. At the end of the day, we go nowhere. So the question is, I want all of you and I and all of Tobago to answer. What is the political imperative? What is the evolutionary imperative for you and me and all Tobagonians? We must answer that. When we answer that, then we take the action to match that. You follow what I'm saying? Apart from having the vision too, you also have to have a passion, a conviction, strategy, a means to go there. But we know it because we know the history. The history here we have come from Africa, right? Okay? And we came under oppression, suppression. We came in bondage. So when we left Africa and come here, we couldn't make any laws for ourselves. To this day, here, Tobagonians are not making any laws in our own bodies, in our own temples, in our own story, in our own daily walk and passage. We are not navigating that legislatively or even executively because there's a sovereign in Trinidad, and that is the context here.
Right.
All right. So just before you come in, so that you examine the leadership in Tobago. At this point in time, they are there more than a year. Have we seen actions that are contextual to Tobago's history, to the Tobago experience? No, that is more than a quarter, more than 25% of a term has gone, but we haven't seen any robustness. In fact, we have seen nothing, period, where Tobago must get out from this context that we are living in every day and believing it is normal. So there are two things that can happen. You can either use the House of Assembly and turn Tobago into a sovereign nation, turn that very institution into a sovereign institution, or we can operate a local government. The evidence is there. And from the evidence, you've seen a local government mentality. Now, that same local government mentality is going to morph now into a political party.
Right, and herein lies my next question that I was getting to. So you're getting into the next question a bit. So when we talk about autonomy, we look at the PDP party as having brought that to the table as one of their big ticket items during the campaign. And we see this new party being formed, and we hear sentiments of movements towards Tobago autonomy being echoed as well. But we have the same group of people. So the question therein lies, can we trust them with Tobago autonomy?
Well, the answer to that is a resounding no. The evidence is there. One of the things we have to understand in Tobago, we have people popping up without vision and ideas and so on. You having that because people are interested, and office exists. So people are going to go there and work in the office. Mind you, since the inception of this new House Assembly that started in 1996. Now, initially, it was from 1980, with Act 37 of 1980. In 1996, it was upgraded and it became a legislature, pseudo legislature, however you may choose to call it. But it is something that you can use now because you can actually make laws. What you have heard here is that you have a law exists from 1996 to now, and not a single law has been made. What is the definition of a legislature? A legislature is to legislate, to make laws. Forgetting the legislature that exists now, even the one in Trinidad, Tobagonians have a right. The parliament in Trinidad cannot prevent anybody from Tobago from being free. And constitutions do not give freedom. Constitutions ought to protect and to safeguard. So in the sovereign real sense, Tobagonians are free if in our free mindset, and they could have used the opportunity. But if you notice, as I said, they have not used the legislature. There's not a single law, but they are legislators. When you become an assemblyman or a member of the House of Representatives, you are actually a legislator. Let me quickly say, is that in Tobago, people are going around election times and picking up anybody and say, hey, become a policymaker, become a governor, become a leader, become a lawmaker, become a legislator. And what you're seeing is that the capacity, the understanding is not there. And so that you had this massive failure that nobody's accounting for. Last few Thursdays ago, the House was supposed to meet. Now, the principle of government is that the government can't stop. It can't fail. Anytime the government stops, that's an insurrection. That's treason. But you're not hearing that conversation. And up to now, the Chief Secretary, who is the leader of the pack, he's not saying anything. The Deputy Chief Secretary, who he left there because he was not here, and he can't give account for where he was because he was not on assembly business. He went to Germany, and then he ended up in Jamaica. The principal of the Jamaica trip was the Honorable Ian Ballard. He was back at work on Monday, the Monday preceding. Where was Fadi Augustine? He abandoned his post, but here he's there, Mark. Deputy Faith Bremner, Israel, was the leader here. You're not hearing any statement. All we are hearing unofficially is that the clerk didn't come. When you read the law didn't say the clerk has to be there. It is clear there. If you should get the law, what it says is that the clerk shall keep in proper form a record or the record of the proceedings. Keep, not record the meeting. Because that there is an institution they set up. So there are workers there to take the record. Keeping the record really is a matter of filing. It's the Hansard, and you have to file it. I work at the electrical inspectorate. We keep records in proper form.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
And another question is, when we talk, going back a little bit to the question of what is the vision of this new party being formed, they have now created a process whereby they are looking for the people to be a key part of who they are, their identity, their colors, their symbols, the philosophy behind it. So don't you think that it would be of great assistance to them and also contribute to this new dawn of politics that we're seeing here on the island by allowing Tobagonians to feed into that new vision?
Well, I don't think there's any vision there really. There's no vision there. What is driving that there is the lust for power, is the lust for office, getting a 2 terms and a 3 terms. When you look at the trajectory, the body language, the evidence so far coming out from them, there has been no movement towards lifting the people of Tobago to register Tobago as an international nation in the world. Unless Tobago becomes an international nation registered officially, Tobagonians will get nowhere, or sportsmen will continue to suffer. Everybody will be discriminated against, but nobody respects anybody who can't make a law.
But do you think us being a sovereign nation is something that Tobagonians on a whole want?
What? I think subconsciously you listen, because we complain.
Because we don't want to impose anything on the people that they don't necessarily
No, but it's not an imposition. Every man is entitled to freedom.
Correct.
When you talk about sovereignty, you're really talking about your freedom.
Correct.
Anything short of slavery is bondage. The police is controlled from Trinidad. The army is controlled from Trinidad. The election, every single thing, immigration is controlled by the stadium is controlled. The reason for that is we are not sovereign, and this is something that we can't hide from. We're going to be living a life of insults and so on. But we know these things. We have experienced these things. You have a cricketer now suffering. He was a standout on the West Indies youth team and on the West Indies under-23 team, Joshua James. But there are no selectors for Trinidad and Tobago from Tobago. I mean, how can we live with that? We are really, really playing the fool of ourselves here in Tobago. And the politicians that you have exist are not dealing with, they're not examining that situation. They're not dealing with it.
All right. And when we talk about this party making itself viable enough to run in an upcoming election, because you said a number of things, what do you think their focus needs to be on?
The focus for all Tobagonians is to get out of bondage. We have to overcome the hurdle that currently exists, which is Trinidad over Tobago. We can't get anywhere. Even our very budget, all the boasts about fixing economy in Tobago. You can't fix no economy in Tobago unless you are in charge. You're not in charge of your oil, you're not in charge of your gas. Tobago is being run like a parlor. Let the reality sink into all of us. You are depending on a transfer of money from Trinidad. Trinidad is controlling everything. Back in 2008, they were looking for gas around Tobago, yeah? Petro-Canada came in, and then Centrica. We have to remember these things. They stopped the fishermen from fishing in Tobago, and they discovered acres of gas in Tobago. Block 22 alone is 12 times bigger than the landmass of Tobago. Block 22 is off Castar and Shallowville area there, with trillions of gas. Trillions of cubic feet of gas. Let me tell you something. I want to tell Tobagonians something, that the richest country, the richest people in the country, we should not attach that to self-government. Money or riches has nothing to do with self-government. Self-government is your right. And everybody must live governing yourself. That is how God ordained it. Anything else different is from the devil. But nevertheless, Tobagonians need to understand that the people of Tobago are the richest people in the English-speaking Caribbean.
And this conclusion is based on our natural resources.
Based on our resources.
And our entitlement to
it is ours. And I'm saying, as a good point you make there, we have to start to think as owners in Tobago. We have to preach the politics of ownership and possession, because up to this day, we don't really own Tobago. We know it rightfully belongs to us. But Tobago itself doesn't belong to us. We are living like squatters here in Tobago. We can't regulate. So people are committing disrespecting us. But I'm saying all of this to say that this is what needs to inform and to drive our politics, and we need to have a passion about it. You have to have an understanding also. What you see there that took place in your house, I'm not letting it get away. I'm not speaking anything untrue. I'm being fair and being logical. Imagine you have a simple law written there in the act. And it's like none of them could have read it and understood it. You read there, the clerk of the house shall keep in proper form the record of the proceedings. And the gentleman who read it, no criticism, I'm just being objective here. He read it as though the clerk of the house is responsible for recording because he saw the word record. And I'm saying all of them should have been looking at this. Why would I entrust my future into a revealed lack of understanding? So for a while now, the politics of Tobago has been an eater food politics. And I've heard members of the regime saying this time is our time. And a lot of what is going on is really having two terms to get pension and different things. I'm saying to Tobago, I'm saying to you, I'm saying to myself, I'm saying to Tobago, what is emerging there is going to collapse. God will not permit it, because the time has come, as you said, for a new politics. What exists there does not have the ability, the understanding, the capacity. And look at what has happened. They are mandated to hold a meeting of the House once a month and could not even achieve that. And we've seen a coincidence of presiding officer absent, clerk of the House. We need an investigation. Nobody went with any gun to close down the House, but yesterday the House couldn't work. The House could not work because of the own lack of understanding where you want a political party to do what.
And so what you are expressing is that you have no confidence in the formation of this new party. But are you giving them an F even before the test begins?
Well, I live in Tobago for a long time. I mean, you can do a head count, you know. You can do a head count. You can name out the members, the leadership. Well, you already have the leader earmarked already. And there is no way, given the fact that he has resisted Duke because Duke wanted to take over after the election. Clearly, he said that was his dream and he wants it. No, I don't know that Farley has any kind of capacity to lead Tobago anyway. I'm very, very clear about, I'm absolutely clear about that. Farley has happened maybe for a reason too. But Farley's happenstance. Duke was looking for candidates and so on, and Farley happened. Tobago must understand that. Farley never came to anybody here with any real vision contextualizing Tobago. Even as he is there now, they talk about what they call autonomy, and it's not autonomy. It is those past people in Tobago who keep keeping this word autonomy alive. We need to be speaking about our sovereignty. But since they are there for more than a year, somebody raised the talk sometime. He said, all right, well, he go set up something. That is about 7-8 months ago. The talk died down, and he just left it there.
But do you think that Tobagonians can revert to going back to the PNM, seeing that we had 21 years of the PNM being in power? We saw the PNM in Trinidad, PNM in Tobago, yet very little advancement happening towards the conversation of self-governance.
Well, the PNM were never going to lead Tobago, and they can't, because the PNM aren't from here. The PNM in Tobago is merely a branch, a foot, a toe of that's the name, the Tobago Council of the PNM. They're not PNM. They are council of, belonging to. They belong to Trinidad. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, they can't self-govern Tobago, and they can't articulate. So if you had 21 years in power, and then for a large chunk of it, you had PNM in Trinidad, that should tell you that they don't have any real vision to free Tobago, because you have enough time. If you spend 21 years, you have enough time to implement that vision, you know.
Right. And so if we're saying that both options on the table are not viable options,
something new has to come.
Tobago forward.
And will emerge.
But isn't this the new thing?
It can't be, because the evidence there is not telling us that. What the evidence is telling us there, and you see, we have to go back to the root of this of what catapulted into this here. We have to go back to the root.
And explain a bit for me when you said Tobago needs something new, a little bit, elaborate a little bit.
When I said Tobago, Tobago needs a new regime to emerge, to replace what is going on there. And there's a school of thought that tells us that both existing parties are really from Trinidad. Both existing parties are really from Trinidad. We won't deal too much with that. But clearly, the evidence so far, and the evidence going to become more compelling, with what you're seeing there, they are not able. What is happening now in Tobago? Every time somebody got on the stage now, autonomy. Because that's the buzzword. Autonomy. The PNM can produce it. There's no excuse. You have more than 1 year, more than 1 year. You have about 12 months, 13 months, 14 months, as the case may be, going on. And there is nothing, there is no strategy, there is no leadership, there is no taking on the enemy. There is no political debate between Tobago and Trinidad. There's no political debate. You see, the scripture speaks of wars and rumors of wars. There's a reason for that. Because this life is filled up ever since the angels fell and then mankind fell. There's injustice in the spirit, in the world, in the earth. On the earth, there is injustice. And the world is not kind as we think. We are naive to think so. You have to fight for your right. And so that there should be wars. There's nothing wrong with war. There should be war. And the people to fight the war, the Bible speaks of nation against nation, kingdoms against kingdom. The Tobago yearning, the Tobago just, the yearning is a just one. But it is the leader to do that. The leader does not have the experience, the capacity, the know-how. It is there before us. And we must know how he came about to. He happened. Duke came along pushing a message. Now the conversation was there going on. And so Duke came with the buzzwords and so on of autonomy. But now we've seen Duke in Trinidad.
Which is a direct contradiction to everything that he said.
And you have to understand too, when Duke first went to Trinidad on his travel or sojourn to Trinidad, you remember the party was supporting him? They were still all PDP.
Yes, but
these people were supporting the move, and
there isn't any evidence that there was really support.
Yeah, of course, they made several of them made statements defending Duke's foray to Trinidad when it just began. We can't forget that, they were supporting it. They never condemned it. They actually supported it. So what I'm saying here, there's no clear vision. I'm telling you, the overwhelming desire here is to get at least 2 terms. It's nothing different from what the PNM did. It's a eater food, is wanting prestige. But you see, there's a vision to be accomplished here. The youths of Tobago, especially the youths who are born with gifts and talent, they want to express themselves. Tobago cannot continue to be under the shadow of Trinidad. Tobago, you can't run from your future. Tobago has to become an independent nation. They could jump high, jump low. That is the destiny. We can't afraid it.
Exactly.
And there's nothing to run, there's nothing to be afraid of. Really. Because God didn't make us to be, He never gave us a spirit of fear. You're the richest country. It's like the Tombstone implement. She was a mother, but she didn't know it. She was a wife. She didn't know it. That spirit is still in Tobago, and with the setup, the bombardment of wrong information that hit in the mind, always question you. Can you do this? Can you do that? Jesus Christ said, yes, we can. What's the message of Jesus Christ? You just had Easter go on there, which is a wrong name, is Passover. Because we have Jesus Christ is our Passover, the Passover from bondage to freedom, from death to life, from poverty to freedom. Easter has no meaning. You know what I'm saying? But that's another.
That's our next conversation for next time. But we want to thank you because we're running out of time and we could go on and on and on with this conversation. But when we talk about sovereignty of the island of Tobago, you know, there must be a collective consciousness that is going along with that type of idea.
That's
so
true.
it should never be any one man purporting that
I'm not.
Tobago
Well, it shouldn't be me alone.
Yeah, it should be a collective approach.
But the thing is, my and Chanel, not everyone has the understanding that I have.
Understood. But what before you go, what message do you have for the people of Tobago and for the individuals that are taking the time out to really get down on the ground to understand what Tobagoans are trying to accomplish or what they desire from governance to create this new party?
I think Tobagoans understand that we are in a vulnerable situation. I think everybody knows that. The PNM were there, they were never into the Tobago thing, but they are on the wind, so to speak. So many challenges when they were there. So they understand. I think all of Tobago understand. We not understand it to the extreme extent that we are in a vulnerable. We have to wait for a budget. We can't develop Tobago. They want to develop Scarborough Port, so many things to be done. But we have no money. Not that the money is not here, you know. Not that the money is not coming out from Tobago, but we don't own the money, we don't possess it. This is the issue. And we have to ask ourselves, is this a proper relationship with Trinidad? Is this a friendly relationship with Trinidad? Only the truth can answer that. Just before we came on here, as they were wrapping up the former interview, look at what came out of the guy who was being interviewed, the artist. You know what he said? They were asking him for a little intro, a little taste of the songs that he was going to sing. You know what he said, finally? He said they have to wait until he comes down to Tobago. You see anything wrong with that statement? They must wait until he comes down to Tobago. Where is he coming down from? Trinidad is the most down Caribbean island.
I think he was in Canada at the time of the interview. I believe he was in Canada at the time of the interview.
Well, if that is the case, that is okay. But the reason why I say that, because I interact with many as an electrical inspector, many contractors coming up. They don't ever say they're coming up to Tobago because they just can't conceive of Tobago as being
above. Understood. Well, again, Mr. James, thank you so much for taking the time, and hopefully we have another time where we could continue similar conversations. Again, thank you, and it's always interesting to have these conversations with you, and your very interesting perspectives on Tobago and Tobago sovereignty and what any successful political party should be thinking about or focused on, what the vision should be in order to enable success of the island. Again, thank you guys. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to return right after this.
Wake up with Candace and Denasia. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. Energy fill the sky.
Tobago, it's time to go. Sweet like
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit DigicelTT.com or a Digicel store now.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice car get damaged bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard, I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you. Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there.
good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. Guys, if you just joined us, you missed a really interesting conversation regarding the launch of that new party that we saw the preparation for happening last week at the Shore Park Cultural Complex, with the interim political leader being Mr. Farley Augustine, who is currently the Honorable Chief Secretary here in Tobago. Now, as we continue on with the conversation this morning, I have the privilege of sitting with the lovely Mrs. Jewel Green George. Yes, who is also the president of the Tobago Writers Guild. And this morning we're talking about the creative industry here on the island. We're talking about how Tobago can boost that orange economy, what needs to be done, and how more attention needs to be placed on the industry. So good morning, Mrs. George. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm fine.
Is this your first time on Tobago Updates?
No, actually.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
but first time in a while.
Okay. Well, it's always a pleasure to have the Tobago Writers Guild on, because you guys play a critical function on the island here, especially where literacy is concerned. And you guys have explained to Tobagonians and just our viewers online, how does the Tobago Writers Guild function?
Okay. Well, the Tobago Writers Guild started in 2008 by just a group of persons who read, write, and they were really interested in supporting authors like themselves. So they started this group just to support authors, and it has grown and blossomed into what it is today. We have quite a number of initiatives going all year, some monthly, some annually. But the Guild has over 300 members, about 100 and so active members, some honorary members as well, and lifelong members. But the Guild itself is really interested in making sure that we provide an opportunity for people who write, first and foremost, to have a community, right, that will support, help them be nurtured. They can talk to each other about what's happening in their writing, what's happening in their journey as authors, and that's really the root, the foundation of what the Guild is about.
Right. But this morning you're here on an advocacy note.
Yes.
And you're advocating for more attention to be placed on the creative industry. What type of conversations have you guys been having with the Tobago House of Assembly, just policymakers on a whole, lobbyists? What type of conversations are being had in that regard, and who are you guys talking to?
Well, I would tell you, Chanel, we haven't spoken to a soul yet, right? And for this reason, we want to understand what we understand about our industry before we approach somebody to say, we need more of this, or we need less of this. You know what I mean? You must understand what you want and what you need first as a person, as a group, as an NGO, as an organization. And those are the internal conversations we're having. We are figuring out what's our strategic plan for the next few years. Where are we going? What does the Guild and writers, what do writers in Tobago need and want?
Okay, and is it that you're here this morning to ask individuals to join in on that conversation?
Oh, yes.
Help us to understand.
Well, let me just explain first that the orange economy is a creative industry, right? It covers all things creative once it deals with the intellectual property. So anything, so it can range from writing, which the Guild covers, music, the arts, research, right? Creating a new technology, creating a new tool, right? So it covers inventors as well. It does not only cover writers and artists, as people feel, this creativity, it's only a small little sector, people who dance, sing, and write. It also includes persons who may be creating tools, new technologies, new equipment. So a doctor who has created a new type of surgical instrument will now be covered under the orange economy, because it covers anything that is dealing with intellectual property, anything that is coming from generated from your mind, and therefore you want to protect your intellectual property. You want to protect that thing you have generated now out of yourself.
Right. And so you said that you guys are still having conversations among yourself in regards to what you would like to see happening with the orange economy on the island, the type of investments that you want to see being made here. But what type of recommendations have you guys come up with so far?
Well, the issue that a lot of writers are meeting is the issue of one, publication, right, and funding. So it's not just an issue, so the funding isn't just to publish a book, but the funding is also going to cover education, capacity development. Because what you want from a writer, what a writer wants, is to be able to write the best work they can write, is to be able to produce the best piece of literature that they can produce. And what is coming out of that is that we do not always have the best skills to do that. Obviously, as you start as a writer, your skill level will increase. But you still want to be able to do some capacity building. You may want to do a journalism or a writing intensive or workshop, or even a writing course on the island. And Tobago currently does not offer, even for distance learning, the ability for an author to sign up for a writing course, and the ability for a writer to join a writing course, so perhaps to get a degree or a master's in writing, right? There is nothing here on the island in terms of whether it's distance learning or, face-to-face for an author to say, well, I'm going to get into this program and it's going to help and support me in terms of my writing. And the next thing we're not having a lot of is, I would say, writing, what we say writing competitions, short story competitions, for people to be able to submit their work, for you to get feedback, because winning something is the best feedback ever, right?
And these things that the Tobago Writers Guild can facilitate?
Yes, some of it, definitely.
So is it that you are calling on Tobagonians to support the initiatives of the Tobago Writers Guild?
Well, I am calling on the Tobago people, the people who are resident in Tobago, not just to support, but to understand that their writing is not just something that they do at home. You have singers who sing in the bathroom, right? So I don't want you all to write and put your book somewhere, show your friends and family, and then we never hear about your book. We want people to come forward with their work, with their pieces. We can help you put it together. The Tobago Writers Guild, we do have a publishing house, and we will be having a hard launch by putting forward a Tobago Imprint Volume 2, because we have a Tobago Imprint Volume 1, which is an anthology of 26 authors from Tobago, and their short stories compile this book. So what we're looking for the next Volume 2 to do is to galvanize another set of writers. And what we want Tobago people to understand, and we're heading into conversations in terms of the lecture series and in terms of public conversations, not just in the guild, right? To talk to people, to get people to the understanding that your writing is not, this thing that you should hide away. It is something that it can be an income earner. You can literally be a career writer and an author, just like, all the popular authors, right? You are not exempt from success because you are in a little island in the Caribbean, Tobago.
Right. And how can persons join the Tobago Writers Guild?
Well, they definitely can join by calling us, right? We do have a number of ways they can contact us. So they can call us at 620-5799. They can contact us by email, and that's Tobago Writers Guild 123@gmail.com, and they can also find us on all the social media, so Instagram, Facebook, and we have an online form, so you don't even have to print anything, you don't even have to come in. It's really, COVID has really taken us from this face-to-face model of doing things to be able to do things virtually, so we have an online form.
And before you go, because we're wrapping up here,
yes.
Tell the people about how you guys have really targeted the different age groups, because when we talk about literacy, we talk about writing, we talk about reading, we are talking about targeting multiple demographics, especially when we look at age groups. So how have you guys been targeting those different age categories?
Well, what I want to explain first is that the Writers Guild even though literacy will come under us, it's not our main focus. Our main focus is writing. So what we do is partner with literacy programs and partner with those who are skilled at literacy training, right, to make sure that literacy is something that is pervasive on the island. But what we are doing to target, we do have First Mic. First Mic targets children between the ages of 7 to 14. We're looking to open up those age groups. We do have, and that's an open mic for children that we had at the library. We're starting back this year. We do have the next chapter, which is targeting the young adults, right? An open mic for young adults, and we've partnered with the library this coming April 24th to have an open mic at the amphitheater at the Scarborough Library. So check our Facebook page, the library's Facebook page, for that event. We've also targeted adults. So the Writers Guild has really been facilitating adults, and that's, well, you know, that's the 18 and up age group, right? So we have multiple areas where we're targeting multiple age groups to lend support. We, we were part of DIRT's initiative for World Read Aloud Day this March 1st, and we went into the schools and read aloud to them, and let me tell you, it was very well received. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming in this morning
Thank you for
and having this conversation and representing the Tobago Writers Guild. Guys, you've heard it here, the Tobago Writers Guild. She gave all the contact information. You can reach out to them on Facebook or email them at the Tobago Writers Guild 123@gmail.com.
Yes.
And yeah, you can reach them there. Get your
620-5799. You can give us a call.
Excellent. And you can get your kids involved. If you yourself are a writer, if you just have your journals there and, you know, persons that you are close with have told you, why don't you publish it? Maybe this is a sign that it's time.
Oh, yes.
So contact the Tobago Writers Guild and get your work out there. As she said previously, I mean, this is something that has been a career and an income earner for many persons.
Yes.
So don't even overlook the ability for the work that you have done to reap financial benefits. Guys, thank you so much for making Tobago Updates the #1 broadcasting station on the island of Tobago. And so we are finished here for today. So I just want to sign out and say thank you again for joining, for liking, for commenting, for sharing. And guys, thank you for continuing to support us here on Tobago Updates. Guys, this is Good Morning Tobago. I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.
Passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong.